What's up everyone, welcome back to the channel. So another comparison this time around is the same thing, the Samsung Galaxy A50. This time we're going to compare it to a phone that actually doesn't cost that much more in the used market, the iPhone X. Now I've been seeing a lot of iPhone Xs right now sell for around the $350 range. And this phone took a massive depreciation not only because of the XS and 11, but also because the XR went down in so much in price that a lot of people are, they're looking at the XR, that's a newer phone. So the X is just about the same cost, if not a little bit cheaper than the iPhone XR. And between both of them, I mean, they're both pretty cool devices. They both have, strong things for both of them. You might be thinking the iPhone X is automatically the better phone, but that's not necessarily the case all the time. Even though it was more expensive when it came out, the A50 is the newer device. So let's go ahead and see how both of these things compare. Now looking at the front, the iPhone X does have this 5.8-inch Super Retina OLED display, which is really nice. That one is 1125 by 2436, but the Galaxy A50 has that 6.4-inch Super AMOLED display. That one is 1080p, and that is a pretty big advantage over the iPhone X. It's a bigger display. There's a little bit less bezel around it too, but I will say that the iPhone X panel is the overall better looking one. I felt like since I've been using it and since I've been looking at it, the viewing angles are much better, the colors are much better as well. Even though I'm pretty sure Samsung made this panel, I do think the A50's panel is still really good, but the iPhone X panel just looks a little bit better in my opinion, including those viewing angles. The back, we have glass on the back on both of them, but the Galaxy A50 does have a triple camera setup, which I will talk about in a second. The iPhone X only has a dual camera setup, but I only say only, but it's a really good camera setup at the end of the day. The A50's is good too, but like I said, I'll hit on those in a little bit. The A50 has a USB Type-C port as well as a headphone jack. The iPhone X only has a lightning port, and in reality, on the outside, that is pretty much it. There's really not too much going on. What I will tell you is that when I'm holding both in the hand and when I'm messing with them, the iPhone X still feels like the flagship phone that we know and love. It still feels like a very premium device. The Galaxy A50 definitely does feel a little bit cheaper, but the coolest thing about the A50 is that it does have a inbuilt fingerprint sensor straight into the screen, which is a pretty crazy thing for the fact that you're getting that type of technology on a phone that costs like $300 something versus the, even like the iPhone 11 Pro Max, that phone costs over $1,000, and that phone doesn't have this type of technology either. So definitely in my opinion, this phone, the A50, you're getting a lot of money for your value, but you're also getting the same thing on the iPhone X as well in terms of value. In terms of software, the Galaxy A50 started off with Android Pie on Samsung's One UI. You are able to upgrade it to Android 10 in about a couple months. We got that release yesterday, not the release, but we got the the news that it will eventually be getting One UI 2. I don't know if it's going to be getting One UI 3. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. I have no idea. But with the iPhone X, it's literally, it started off with iOS 11.1.1. You are able to upgrade it to iOS 13.2. But dude, I'm telling you, this thing is going to last a very long time. It's going to outlast the A50. It's probably going to outlast the S11 as well, or be on par with the Samsung Galaxy S11 when that comes out. So I'll definitely tell you in terms of software update, the iPhone X will outlast the A50 without a doubt. Now I'll go ahead and tell you the performance. I did a speed comparison as well, but I'll tell you the specs beforehand. The iPhone X has the Apple A11 Bionic chip, a hexa-core CPU with 3GB of RAM, where the Galaxy A50 has the Exynos 9610 chipset, an octa-core CPU, with 2 models with 4GB of RAM and 2 models with 6GB of RAM. On my specific model, I do have the 4GB of RAM option, so let's go and see which one is the faster device between those. Alright guys, as you can see, the iPhone X is on the left, the Galaxy A50 is on the right. I'm totally forgetting the name of these phones. So let's go ahead and start loading some of these apps. Let's use Snake versus Blocks. 3, 2, 1. And the iPhone X did load up faster than the Galaxy A50. Let's get into some gameplay, see if there's any difference. And they look to be about the same. Not too much of a difference there in my opinion. Let's do Facebook. 3, 2, 1. And Facebook is already loaded on the iPhone X, and it did take a while on the Galaxy A50, not a crazy amount, but you can see definitely there was a faster part on the iPhone X. Twitter, 3, 2, 1. And again, iPhone X is faster. Pretty surprising. I kind of was in a way expecting the Galaxy A50 to be faster, but I don't know. Let's do Temple Run 2, 3, 2, 1. And you can see the iPhone X is pretty ahead of the Galaxy A50, dude. You can see, I mean, the iPhone X is loaded now, and the A50 still hasn't loaded, and now it's loaded. So it did take quite a bit of time on the Galaxy A50. It was much faster on the iPhone 10. I don't know if any of them have, they both kind of glitched up a little bit in the beginning, but not too much of a difference that I can see, so I don't know. Gameplay seems to be about the same for that specific game. Let's do Fruit Ninja. 3, 2, 1. And with this game, I want to show you something else that's pretty interesting. So as you can see, the iPhone 10 did get into it faster. The Galaxy A50, we eventually get into it, but even though the Galaxy A50 has a bigger display, look how much more screen real estate, technically speaking, you have to play on the iPhone 10 than on the Galaxy A50. You literally have the whole entire display, whereas on the Galaxy A50, that whole entire display is cropped out. You only have this much of a viewing angle, which is actually technically less than the iPhone 10. But the other thing is that same problem is with the Galaxy S10, the Galaxy S10 Plus, and so many other phones like that. So getting into some gameplay, you can see it's going to be about the same. There's not too much of a difference between them here. Let's do stack. 3, 2, 1. And even with that little pop-up, it was still faster on the iPhone 10. Let's get into some gameplay for this game, see if it glitches up at all. And it seems like actually the iPhone 10 kind of glitched up in the beginning with. And they both seem to be about the same, so I guess we're just going to leave it at that. Tempo run. 3, 2, 1. And as you can see, we're going to have to restart this one. Tempo run again. 3, 2, 1. And the iPhone 10 just a little bit faster than the Galaxy A50. Let's get into some gameplay, and this is even a minor game where we're seeing some differences. I think in terms of the display itself, I think the iPhone 10 does have the better display, as you guys can see. The viewing angles are honestly much better on the iPhone 10 as well, even though that phone came out way before the Galaxy A50. As you can see, gameplay is about the same. Let's do thank you. 3, 2, 1. Actually, this time the Galaxy A50 loaded it up faster. That's surprising. I noticed on my Android devices, it does seem to be a little bit faster for this specific game, which is surprising. Gameplay is about the same though. Bofa, 3, 2, 1. Now this app did get an update on I think both my devices. So, okay, as you can see, the iPhone 10 did get into it faster, and eventually Galaxy A50 did get into it. But that's kind of weird. Usually the Android devices were faster, but this time it's like the other way around. Instagram, 3, 2, 1. Galaxy A50 loaded that one up a little bit faster. That was really weird. I was not expecting that. Let's go ahead and end it off with the Real Racing 3. 3, 2, 1. And at first I thought I didn't click it, but then I eventually went into it. So it always glitches up like that for me in the beginning with. And the iPhone 10, look how much ahead of the Galaxy A50 it was, that's pretty surprising, you know what I mean? So between both of them, I mean, gameplay, graphics, everything might be about the same, but I would definitely tell you when you're loading up things like that, it seems to be overall a split second faster on the iPhone 10. It's not like extremely faster, not like you're going to get like 50 times better performance or anything like that, but that is kind of interesting. The iPhone 10 is still a little bit more expensive than the Galaxy A50 in the used market, but it's still pretty surprising to me how a phone that came out in 2017 is still technically faster than the phone that came out in 2019. But the other thing to keep in mind is that this was a flagship back in 2017, and this is a budget phone. So think about how much better we're getting. By the time next year or the year after that, we're going to have some really cool budget phones coming out. So that's pretty much it for this comparison. Let's get back to the whole entire video. Now that we're back, let's go and hit on the cameras. The iPhone 10, like I said, has two 12 megapixel sensors. The Galaxy A50 has one 25 megapixel wide angle lens, an 8 megapixel ultra wide sensor, and then a 5 megapixel depth sensor. And without a doubt, I'll definitely tell you in terms of quality and pretty much everything else, I do think the iPhone 10 has the better camera sensor at it. But the Galaxy A50, I feel like the camera UI is better. I feel like you're getting way more capability kind of in a way with the Galaxy A50 camera. Even though you can only shoot 1080p video on it, you can do 4K up to 60 frames on the iPhone 10. Between both of them, without a doubt, the iPhone 10 is probably, without a doubt, the better camera. But the A50, because of that camera UI and because of the price, when it started off brand new, you can't really overlook it. I guess Samsung tried to make it look like a good camera with 3 camera setups, but it really wasn't really that great. On the front, 7 megapixel camera on the iPhone 10, a 25 megapixel camera on the A50, and again, without a doubt, the iPhone 10 is the better camera setup without a doubt. Moving on to the battery life, the iPhone 10 has a 2,716 mAh battery, the Galaxy A50 has a 4,000 mAh mAh battery. And what I'll tell you in this case again, I do believe that the Galaxy A50, bigger batteries more times than not mean better battery life. And in this case, I will give the benefit of the doubt to the Galaxy A50. Not only is the usage time pretty well, but the standby time is actually pretty decent for the A50 as well, at least better than I thought. With the A50, you also have to keep in mind it has technically a lower resolution display. Even though it's a bigger display, it still doesn't really get as bright as the iPhone X's display. So in my opinion, I do feel like the Galaxy A50's battery life is a little bit better than the iPhone X's. And to kind of sum up this whole entire comparison, the iPhone X is I think the better phone overall, even though the battery life might be better on the A50, even though the screen is bigger, even though there's technically less bezel on it. The iPhone X is, a super premium device. It still feels like a killer device. Software updates are going to be lasting a very long time with it, and even though the A50, the inbuilt fingerprint sensor, micro SD card slot, all that, if I had to choose one, I would pick the iPhone X honestly. But the A50 for a brand new device is a very good price tag for that specific phone. There's not a lot of phones that you can go out to the Best Buy and pick it up right there and come back for a cheap price. And the A50 is a pretty decent priced phone for a brand new device. So that pretty much covers it. If you want to pick up an iPhone X or a Galaxy A50, I'll find the cheapest ones on Amazon. I'll link them straight down in the description below so you guys can help support the channel at the same time. But that is pretty much it. If you guys have any other questions or anything, leave it down in the comment section below. Hit that like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. Every single subscriber that we get really does count, so it means so much if you guys could hit that. Also check out the other links down in the description as well. My Twitter, my Instagram, my second channel, all those things are linked down below. I'd really appreciate it if you guys could check it out. But more importantly, everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.